You know the drill, 100,000 likes for 700 days. What is up, guys? My name is Sasha1 and welcome to 600 Days Hardcore on the largest mod pack possible, a video inspired by LuketheNotable. This 100 days we focus a lot about base building and insane modded creations. If you are new here, I suggest to watch the previous 500 days, that way this video makes a lot more sense. Also, make sure to subscribe, we're so close to 1 million. I'll make a deal with you guys, if you guys leave a lot of support on this video, I'll get 700 days done in about 2.5 weeks. Anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. It is day 500 and it is time to do some major changes to our base. And maybe we'll actually do something with this dinosaur. The first thing that I want to work on is actually the underground with all the farms and everything, because right now it's an absolute mess. I don't know what design to go for, so I sort of just winged it. I also made the decision to take out this giant industrial smelter because it didn't fit down here with all the farms and everything. Once cleared, I extended the fish farms, that way everything matched. The next day I finished up placing up all the blocks, and boom, the first floor already looks like how I envisioned it. I didn't like that I could only see the first floor, so I yeeted that place open and now we can see all 3 floors from the front. I attempted to fill it with glass, but honestly, it didn't look good. Nope, I don't want any blocks here. And when I said I don't want any blocks, I decided to remove all the blocks, including all the floors between the levels. Mining was a bit slow, so I decided to craft a pet called the cheetah pet that actually gives me haste 2. Day 502, and look at this haste 2 go, man. How satisfying is that? And since I cleared out so much room so fast, I decided to add farms on the other levels. With all the farms in place, all I had to do was add red pipes to give them energy. When all the red pipes come together, it looks pretty cool. I used a lot of materials really fast, but luckily I had this obsidian furnace that smelted everything in like 10 seconds. I continued the next day by placing pipes, making pipes, and then placing in the last pipe, and boom, you hear that? The power is now connected to all the farms. Everything seemed to be working except for this tree growing. I thought it had plenty of room. I ended up taking out the dino's walkway, and that definitely seemed to do the trick. Everything seems to be in order, except I didn't have enough red pipes to be on the other side of the farm, so I had to go mine for some redstone. Day 505, just mining all day, but it's much easier with Instamine. On top of that, I can just send all the materials through my ender pouch that goes into my storage system. Now that I had the material, I could start filling out the other side of the farm, and even place in the red pipes. I'm also gonna try to see if I can actually grow these ender lilies in these automatic farms, but I highly doubt it. And boom, all the red pipes are connected to all the farms, so that means they all have power. The only thing left was connecting all the farms with green pipes, which are the pipes that take out all the items. Day 507, everything was doing good in the farming district, so now it's time to focus on mining. The only problem is that mining takes a lot more power than the actual farm work, so I had to connect my farming energy source to my mining one, especially when I had 8 more mining stations. That's a lot of mining, and I have to connect each of these mining stations with power and the green pipes so they actually get the items taken out of them. The next day I need to figure out some sort of storage solution for all these mining stations, because they were going to be pumping out thousands and thousands of cobblestone, and that wouldn't fit in my current storage system. The solution I found were actually upgradable chests that could be upgraded all the way to diamond, so I had diamond chests. Pretty unbelievable, right? So I just linked up all these mining stations into this chest, so now I won't have a storage problem. Look at these babies go. That's pretty satisfying, right? They're like yum yum yum. They're eating up all the sand. And look at all that space in one of these chests. Woo! I knew I was going to have a problem soon, and that was going to be energy, but I already had a solution. That solution being harnessing energy from the black hole I had beneath my base. It was day 510, and after doing some research, I was ready to start building some sort of contraption that would harness energy from that tiny little thingy. There was only several problems, is that I had to clear out all these blocks while being pulled in by the black hole, and I don't even know what happens when you touch it, if you die instantly or what. On top of that, the black hole can grow bigger if you feed it blocks, and I don't know how many blocks it needs, because right now all these blocks I'm breaking go straight into the black hole. An edit video about this was recorded with Bandicam and had those bass boosted intros like dun 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 dun, like those Allier intros. You know what I'm talking about? But after a while, I was finally able to create some sort of an invisible structure that should label where I'm supposed to place in the blocks. And the next day we came across a problem because the material that I needed, I had none of. The material I needed was called tritanium, and it looked like this. And I needed a lot of it, and it was hard because there was hundreds of different types of ores out there. And that's what I did the day after as well. I also needed obsidian, but that was not a problem because I had 20,000 nether portals all outside my old base. And then just back to mining. Day 513, I had a lot of new ores and even ores coming from all my mining stations, so I decided to make a super smelter, but with modded obsidian furnaces. Also, look at this tiny chest. Look how adorable that is. Anyway, my goal was to make the mumbo jumbo super smelter, but it was gonna be modded. And it was done. The coal chest on the left and the input chest on the right. The next day it was time to test it out, so I took ores from all my mining chests, and whoa, look at all that mining the mining stations have done. And the super smelter was working with ridiculous speed. pretty. Look at that. It was also a blood moon tonight, so I just had to float above my base for the entire night. And look at these giant red eyeball things. I've never seen them before. They're kind of weird. Day 515 after the blood moon, I decided that I wanted to extend my storage system. It felt pretty small and cramped, so I just wanted to make it bigger. Like my ex-girlfriend told me, bigger is better. I also moved my ME storage system so it's right next to my regular storage system. That way I could easily switch between the two. The next day, I filled in my extra room with these chests that were only for special items. For example, everything space themed would go into this chest because I didn't want to put it in my giant storage system. I did this with a few other things like the inventory pets, the ME system, and even for the black hole generator downstairs because I wasn't finished with it yet. Day 517, I had no need for all these extra chests all around my base, so I just put them all back in my storage system or the extra chests. I was getting a lot of cobblestone from all these mining stations that I had outside, so it was time to actually start smelting them for stone for my giant wall. I finished outlining my new wall and I'm starting to feel like Trump. As you can see from a sky view, the wall's gonna go around the coast, but then on the land it's just gonna be a straight pattern. It was day 518 and I finally had enough tritanium to start building some sort of machine for the black hole. The only problem is that I was kind of winging it because the tutorials were so bad that I had no idea what I was doing. After placing all the blocks, the machine said invalid parts, so yeah, I did something wrong. I was depressed, so I went in a call with my friends and we sent memes like sand socks for one. The next day, I wanted to get more mining stations in order to get more tritanium because I wasted all on the wrong parts. But this means I needed a lot more energy, so I added a lot more generators together. And when I mean a lot more mining stations, I mean a lot more mining stations. I put them all in front of my base. There was one problem though. There was this water here and the sponges don't work. Look, this is a normal sponge. It should suck up all the water, right? And that's why we download mods, guys. Look at this sponge pet. It's insane. With just one click, I sucked up like a huge part of the ocean. And also, I can walk on water, so yes, you could basically compare me to God. Day 520, I try to use the sponge pad on oil, and sadly, it does not work. I also have to move all these red pipes and green pipes from the back of my base to the front of my base. But it was definitely worth it. Look at this army of stations we have. I spent the next 3 days fixing this all up because I had to make a lot more storage, which means a lot more of those green pipes. And yes, I actually did have these stations wrapping up all around my base now. I added about 10 more gold chests, but honestly, that wasn't gonna hold long when you had 30 mining stations. On top of it, since my black hole generator wasn't done, I had to make more of these coal generators, and in order to do that, I had to do some fancy transmutation thingies. If you were confused, basically, I've been using generators I had somewhere in my storage system, but I ran out of those. And now that I actually have to craft them, this is how you do it. It's some weird energy thingy. It was worth it though, because I added in 2 more generators, plus I knew actually how to make them so I can make more. And once all connected, look, it's already mining. Look at it go. It's going so fast and so many of them. Day 524, I kind of wanted AFK near my base to see how much the mining could do, so I decided to make some cool weapons. I didn't know what to make, so I just chose one that looked interesting called the gravity gun. It was pretty cheap, but I don't actually know what it does. It doesn't seem to do anything. Well, here's an ostrich. Let's just use the left click button. Oh, no! It shot to the ostrich! No! And turns out if you right click, you can actually hold and yeet blocks. Look at that block go. Yeet, yeet, yeet. So, Mr. Water Dragon, you've been bullying me for all these days. Would you like a little roller coaster ride? Long live the king. Bye-bye. Oh, no. Oh, up. Yes. No. Maybe. Yes. Oh! Guess what I did the next day, too? More cool things. I made this thing called a sentry turret, and hey, it looks pretty good, but I don't know how good it is. I ended up making 3 of them, and 2 of them turned evil looking, and I don't know why. I started attacking them, and then they started shooting back, so I guess that's pretty funny. For the next 5 days, I decided to make a big boy weapon because these sentries do no damage. This wasn't particularly interesting because it was a lot of crafting. I wasn't making any sort of turret. I was making a tier 5, whatever was the best I could make at this time. You remember those block shooting turrets that I used to have in my old base and sometimes even in this base? Well, this turret was called the railgun turret, and it was the highest level turret in that mod. Also, this is a non-sped up version of actually how fast my chests were filling up for all the mining stations. Back to the turret. turret, it wasn't necessarily expensive, but it was so much converting through like the alloy smelters and all this fancy modded stuff that it took a long time. I also had to go to the nether a lot to get some glowstone, but it was a lot easier when you could fly. And after full 5 Minecraft days, I finally finished the turret base and the turret railgun. Day 532, here's the railgun in its glory. It wasn't that big, but according to the wiki, it packs quite a punch. I didn't know where to put it, so I just decided to put it in the corner of my base because that would be the best spot to kill any mobs that would attack me while I was trying to craft something in the crafting area. I just had to hook it up to one of my generators in the back, and then I actually have to wait for it to charge up because it takes 200,000 RF to fire just one shot. And if you don't know what that means, it's a lot. While I waited, I just hunted down tritanium because I really need to finish that black hole generator, especially if I want to make more of these railgun turrets. I found this really weird area that had almost like infinite XP. I don't know how this happened. Maybe if mobs were just falling off from the cliff. This was after a full 5 minutes. I should make this like some sort of XP farm. Day 533, it was time to start moving my Tinker Smeltery upstairs where it belonged. It fit perfectly in this area. On top of that, it's very convenient to have next to all my crafting and other smelting stuff. But then it actually happened. The railgun fired its bullets, and I'm not going to lower the volume to show you actually how loud this thing is. So in about 3 seconds, your ears are about to be destroyed. And this happened while I was just minding my own business. It was so loud that I literally cried. And on top of that, my Minecraft volume is at 10%. And then it happened again, and I screamed again. But don't worry, I won't let you guys suffer the same pain I did. I finished up my Tinker Smelter at least, which is really good because this gives you more ores than what you have originally put in. The next day, I was going to put my Tinker's Furnace to good use because I haven't been smelting any of my tritanium because I wanted to put them in this big furnace. That way, I would get actually more ores in return. I burned myself trying to put lava in here as usual, but then I dumped in all this tritanium and I was ready for all those blocks to be formed. And then something very sad happened. Nothing was coming out of the smeltery. The blocks from above looked fine, but when I went inside, I guess it got really glitchy, but I don't know if that's normal. I thought the smeltery was broken, but I tested it with gold real quick and that did work. Day 535, while I let my mind to think to figure out a solution about the tritanium, I had to add a lot more chests for all the mining stuff. Eventually, I came to a solution where I would pour in the stuff as a liquid and then hopefully I would be able to turn it into an ingot from there. Sadly, this did not work either, so I had no idea what to do with this liquid tritanium. On top of that, I had no idea how to put the tritanium back into the normal ore form, so I think I lost everything. Day 536, I thought it would be a good idea to get my mind off losing about 300 ingots of tritanium. I built this other turret that was really cheap, but for some reason it didn't work. But I just simply had to right click it. Whoa, look at that little meanie. Sucks Run, don't you already have the railgun turret? Well, I'd rather have a turret that doesn't blast off my ears every time it fired. I place these bad boys all over my base because they're quiet, they do quite a lot of damage, and they can hide into the block when they want to. The next day was a big day because I finally finished my black hole generator. It was a fairly easy fix. I was just missing a piece that fixes this ring that goes around the black hole. On top of that, it looked like it was already ready to make some energy, so I just connected to all my farms above. And if I understand this correctly, I simply have to put blocks into this generator and it transfers those blocks into energy. And I can even increase this energy output from 200 RF into 10,000 if I actually feed the black hole blocks directly. But if I were to do that, there would be a chance of the black hole blowing up and then destroying my entire base, including me. So I'm just gonna leave it for now. I don't show the time or how much research I actually have to do in order to figure out these things, but I probably put in more time researching than I actually do playing. The reason I'm saying this is because I researched something called a Builder's Wand that will allow me to build really fast. The only problem is that this wand requires a unstable ingot and I need to do some sacrifice in order to make it. And the sacrifice has to be done at midnight exactly, so it's pretty spooky. Luckily, I do have a couple spawn eggs from when I went to the ant dimension or something. I felt a lot of pressure at this moment because I had to get it exactly and know that ostrich ran. Oh! What is happening? Different mobs kept on spawning out of it, and some of them I couldn't even attack. Is the ritual over? I don't know. I can't even see. Some of these mobs make me go blind. I noticed that my red ritual thing was glowing, so it must be complete, right? I mean, now we can just go and try to craft it. Before I went inside, turns out there's actually clouds that you can mine. Day 539, and it was the moment of truth. We were gonna make this builder's wand out of an unstable ingot. The scariest part is that you only have 10 seconds to craft the unstable ingot, or it will explode. And when I mean explode, it will actually kill you. I screenshotted the recipes and I had them up on my other monitor, and I made sure that I would do it. I never crafted so fast in my life, man. And just like that, now we have a builder's wand, but now I have no idea how to use this thing. After some research, the first step was actually to get a lot of blocks of whatever block that you're gonna build out of. The next step was to actually hover over the blocks that you want to build out of, and whoa, you can build 10 blocks or 8 blocks at a time. That's crazy. This is so satisfying. Thank God I did some research. Now it's gonna be 10 times easier to build anything. This is the exact reason why modded Minecraft is 10 times better than vanilla. Also, I don't know what mob does this, or if it's some block, but it's pretty creepy and it looks like I'm gonna die or something. The next day I had a plan. It was to build this wall all around the coastline and all around my base. The first step was actually to build out an outline. That way I could use the builder's tool later. And the day after, since I finished the outline, I just started building up the Great Wall. I finished all of this in just 2 days. And the best part is that I was gonna run out of cobblestone or stone anytime soon because I had chest on chest. Day 542, I just finished up the wall. Here's a sped up version of me building. It's extremely satisfying, am I right? And voila, the Great Wall of Socks for One is finished. I mean, the first layer, but you gotta admit, that looks pretty cool. The next day, I messed around with the builder's wand a little more, and it turns out it's a really good way to get rid of all the oil, because then I could just dump sand all over it. The next step is that my mining stations basically mined out everything that they could in their section, but what if I can actually upgrade their range? And I can. The upgrade made the range of the mining station about 4 times bigger. This means I can mine everything in between the walls. And now that the mining stations are going to be mining in a lot larger area, that means I'm going to have to add a lot more chests because they're going to be overflowing everything. I continued this the next day by getting a lot more upgrades and then actually upgrading all the quarries. And then I spent the whole night just flying around because it was a blood moon, and this is the exact reason why I need a base defense. Day 545, I decided that I was going to make a lot of red pipes because I actually wanted to have these quarries all around inside my base. My goal was to have a multi-level amazing castle that has everything defended inside these great walls. When all the blocks are cleared out, that just gives me infinite room to build on. And it's a much better way to get building blocks and ores so I don't have to go mining. And I did this for one more day because it's actually kind of hard and it requires a lot of materials to connect all the quarries when they're all spread around your base. Another thing to do was actually have a way so I could dump out hundreds and thousands of items into the black hole. That way it could keep on making power. It was pretty simple. I just had to connect a green pipe to like a chest or a hopper. That way I could just dump out all the items and it just transports it all to the generator. I even disconnected all my old generators because technically they're irrelevant at this stage. It was day 547 and it was time for another project, and this being I wanted to finish my underground farm area. I just had to clean it up and make it look nice. And oh, what are those? Why are they running? Why are you running? What are you small green little thingies? Whoa, they're making me nauseous. Anyway, the place can look really pretty. It just needs to be fixed up a bit. While I was doing that, I was also dumping all the cobblestone from these chests into the furnaces because I needed tons and tons of stone bricks in order to finish my great wall. The next day, it was time to get to work. We were gonna make this place look good. Everything was going really good, but then I realized if I really wanted to make this place good, that means I'm gonna have to take out the dinosaur cage because some reason there's no dinosaur living in it. It's probably because I didn't feed him. I spent the entire day of 549 just destroying this glass because it's as tough as obsidian. I'm not only removing this because it would make the underground look better, but I'm also removing it because I don't think it was a good dinosaur cage. It was just too small. We gotta make some sort of park like outside where they can roam free and then we can hunt down mobs with them or something. And boom, all the glass is out, and the rest was really easy because I could just turbo mine it. The next couple days I do a lot of clearing because I have a plan to build these giant walls surrounding all the farms. A lot of clearing, but then it was time for epic building. We were gonna have these cool walls surrounding the farms. That way it shows how big it is. And boom, just like that, the place looks 10 times better. I mean, it needs lighting and needs different blocks, but you know, the whole room just feels better. Day 553, I actually had a worry that that black hole would explode because it started making some weird noises. I've been feeding the black hole a lot of blocks because I needed the energy, but I didn't have any stabilizers. So I threw in about 6 of these stabilizing thingies and they would just like zap this black hole so it wouldn't explode. On top of that, it looks really cool, like it's actually stabilizing the black hole. The next day, I didn't want to go back working underground. I wanted to make a cool entrance for the beginning of my base. I made something called a door factory that would allow me to actually create any sort of door that I wanted, and that seemed pretty cool. You literally just choose the blocks that you want to make it out of and the animation, and it's gonna create the door you want. I didn't know which one I wanted, so I just made one of each animation and then I compared them, but honestly, they all looked really cool. But then I realized all these doors have something in common, that they're only 2 by 1, and I'm looking for a door that's 30 by 10. I didn't know what door to go with, but I knew I needed to make an entrance first. I had no idea what to do yet, so I decided that I just need to make my wall taller, and I needed to have a path. So I did exactly that. I spent the next 5 days actually making a path where I could walk around on my giant wall. This was actually extremely difficult because I couldn't use the builder's wand for this. I had to place all the blocks manually. I mean, only the parts with the curves, because when it's just straight, I could just use the wand. This was just a long and boring process, but I knew it was gonna look amazing when we were finished, and so many possibilities we can do with it once it's done. And boom, day 561 and the entire path around the walls were complete. Right now it's only stone bricks, but we can add so many things like turrets, walls, extra spikes, epic cool stuff. You know, the possibilities are endless. I spent the rest of the day feeding the black hole blocks, and look, the power is actually increasing. It started at 200. The next day I finally had an idea what to do for the gate, and I was like, why not just stick to the basics? I wanted the cool iron gate, but massive. It was gonna need a lot of extra detail and cool stuff, but the actual gate can't get better than this. Then I realized, was there actually a limit on how big this gate could be? Because on the description it doesn't have a limit. But here was the moment of truth. This was a 3,000 maybe 4,000 block wide gate, and it actually works. This and it opens. It actually opens. I mean, it takes like 13 years, but it actually works. Here's the gate opening up in a times 50 manner, and it's still so slow, but so cool. Well, I definitely didn't want my gate this big, but this definitely leaves some cool ideas we could do with it in the future. Day 563, I definitely felt like I needed to go on an adventure. I built a lot of extra chests and made sure my quarries would be fine while I'm gone, and it looks like we were ready to go. I turned on the Davy channel, and I was ready to explore.
Japan is a beautiful country. I've been there many times.
Right off the bat, I found this underwater base. If that wasn't cool enough, it was also pretty big. I tried to use the gravity gun to like shoot down the door like epically, but that didn't work. This place is insane, and I need to have a base here. I'm serious. I marked down the coordinates, and this is something definitely we can do for the next 100 days. And when I went upstairs, there was some sort of scientist on steroids that was attacking me, and he actually survived a hit from my ultimate sword. His name was like Mitko I don't know. I ended up eliminating him, getting an achievement, and taking his cool star projector thing. I kept traveling on day 564, and I tried to use the gravity gun on mafia bees, but sadly, it doesn't work on creatures that fly. I came across this epic looking bunker looking thing. I have never seen this before. It was actually a bunker, so that could only mean one thing. There was definitely gonna be weapons inside. I ended up finding this epic sniper, and I couldn't wait to test this on some mobs. The Minecraft gods must have heard me, because it turns out it was gonna be a blood moon. I also got these cool grenade things, and I mean, they're grenades. What more could you want? Jate. I guess traveling's just been a lot easier when you couldn't fly, because I found this insanely cool tower. Sadly, there was nothing inside, but definitely a cool place to have a base. Also, for some reason, these villagers thought it was a good idea to build their base next to a volcano. I mean, it looks really cool, but aren't they all just gonna die? Day 565 was even more interesting when I came across some sort of battleship, and it looked cool. It had some sort of modded blocks that gave it like a battleship texture. There were a lot of guards inside, but I used their force against them, like this pump action shotgun. There was also some sort of SWAT team that tried to attack me. I don't even know, man. I had no chance looting up their chests from the front because of the knockback. It was insane. So I snuck through the back and stealed all their loot. I was gonna spend only 2 more days traveling around because I was starting to feel homesick. There was this cool nether tower out in the open. The only thing in it though was a zombie spawner, but I was hoping it would be something bigger. I came across a station that was actually made of completely tritanium blocks, which was perfect because I need this for for my black hole generator. I mean, the generator was finished, but it's always good to have extra. And I can already tell I've been exploring a lot because the world was having trouble loading chunks. Before I left, I thought this was really weird. It was like a tar that made the slimes black, and then they attacked my head, and I started screaming. I didn't know what to do. Day 568, I made it back to my base, and I placed down all these cool modded panels that I got where I could write down anything. I was gonna put this forever, but then I realized it wasn't gonna be family friendly. I wanted to start working on my entrance again, but I wanted to use a block that was different, something that was modded, and I came across this cool stone called lava stone. It definitely looked good, but I still wanted to try different possibilities using the chisel. The chisel allowed me to turn the lava blocks into all these different types of blocks, and they all looked crazy. But the original lava blocks still look the best, so I'm probably gonna make a lot of those. The next day I wanted to try one more different type of block, but it required a lot of clay. Like a lot. Like I spent the entire day just getting clay. I turned that clay into bricks, and I made these white colored bricks that looked cool, but the lava bricks still look better. Day 570, and we're gonna start building the Great Path. We definitely made a good choice. This lava stone looks good, and it's gonna look even better once we complete a tunnel going all the way to our castle. I had to spend another day on this because I had to get a lot of lava, and I had to smelt up a lot of cobblestone. And then back to building. Day 572, the Great Path is complete. I mean, the first stage of it, at least. The walls, in fact, will be made out of black stone bricks. That way you will create like this scary atmosphere as you're entering the castle. And we gotta make it high to make it dramatic, to scare any person that comes inside. The only problem is that black stone bricks require a lot of black dye, which requires me to get a lot of squids. I ended up killing so many squids I got this cool squid trophy, so hey, I guess that's pretty cool. And I even worked on this hallway during a blood moon, because why not? You know what's funny? During a blood moon, this lake actually turns purple, so it looks like Thanos' lake. I continued the next day by eliminating a lot of squids, adding a roof over the tunnel, and even making the two main towers more tower-like, because right now they look pretty funny. You can see where I'm going with this. I really want a cool entrance that goes into this amazing hallway. Day 574. This wouldn't be an epic castle if I didn't have good security. I decided to make an eye scanner from security craft that will let off a redstone signal if it senses my face. The whole point is me walking up to my door, and then it opens up when it senses my face. Which brings us to our next day, because I have no idea what door to use. I put this giant garage door, and honestly, I don't like this either. I feel like if the door will look good, it will just instantly look good, and right now everything's not working for me. On day 576, I did some research on a door that's literally just magic. I was like, hold up, wait a minute, this actually looks really good, but then again, you would see what's on the other side, and I didn't want that. On top of that, you actually even needed this green controller to open and close it, and I wasn't gonna hold this wherever I was going. The next day, I just changed things back to basics. I was also thinking, do I actually want the door right in front, or do I want it more inside the castle? Nonetheless, I came to a conclusion that these iron bars look cooler than anything else. I also had to add like 40 more iron chests to my quarry collection because they filled up all of the previous ones. Day 578, I thought it was a good idea to put the drawbridge in front of the iron gate, but for some reason it wasn't working. It actually took me all day to figure out why it wasn't working, but eventually it did, and it looked epic. I really do need like 500 turrets in my base or this happens. I spent the next 2 days developing a security room before you actually enter the main hallway. The point of this room is that you would have to put some sort of security code or some extra security thing, you know, I don't know, more doors are cooler. I decided to make the garage door for the inside one because you can't actually see what's on the other side, and you can make it as big as you want. And the main idea was done. I would go up to the eye scanner, it would scan me, and then the door would actually open. I tried to spice it up with some different modded blocks, but honestly, I think I just made it look 10 times worse. Day 581, I wanted a cool modded liquid that would be dripping down from my hallway, but it couldn't be lava. It has to be something extra. I came across something called pyrothecium. I don't even know what it's called. It's basically lava on steroids and drugs. I smelted it all up in the Tinker's smeltery, and this is exactly what I was looking for. It looked like better lava and brighter. I spent the next 3 days finding a way to implement this new substance in our hallway, but for some reason it didn't work like lava or water. Also, everything it touches, it lights on fire, so that's not actually that good. But when I got it to work, hey, it looks really good. Oh no, 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 I forgot to. Oh, I didn't block it out. No, oh my oil. Oh, my oil is on fire and it's just gonna keep spreading. You gotta be kidding me. Oh no. On the brighter side, I made this orange stone brick that will make some really cool arches for the lava to go down on. Honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm just trying to make it symmetrical and have like cool shapes and all. Whoa, that actually looks pretty good. Oh, I forgot it lights everything on fire, and actually that needs some work. Day 585, while thinking of stuff to do for the hallway and entrance, I decided that I wanted to make my epic throne room bigger. Let me rephrase that. I actually spend the next 4 days doing that because I actually have to spread the lava all the way across the room. With everything getting bigger in my base, this is another thing that just needs to grow with it because it would just look 10 times better when it's more open. The only part that took a long time was actually getting all the lava buckets in there to fill the entire floor. And boom, the lava floor is done. The next step was to have a cool design where like nature would merge into this lava slash trophy room. The funny part is that how would I actually do this? And I was this close by accidentally running water all over these lava sources blocks. That would have turned everything into obsidian. I ended up with something like this, which looked pretty good, but then when I started putting in the glass, it started to lose its feel. Day 589, I had no idea what to do with that throne room, so I came back to the hallway where I learned you can make any slab out of any block. And when I say any slab, I also mean vertical slabs, and you can put them together to make stairs. That's crazy. I also finished putting the rest of the super hot lava fire stuff. I put these slabs all over the arches, not only because it makes it look better, it also prevents this pyro stuff from lighting the original blocks on fire because you can't actually light slabs on fire. And wow, you gotta admit, this room really came together and it's only getting started, right? And of course, that oil fire seemed to have spread to the rest of the base. Talking about the oil fire, I spent the next 5 days trying to remove all the oil using buckets. This wasn't a very practical way in order to remove all the oil. Plus, it was all on fire. Looking back at it now, it would probably have been easier if I researched some sort of oil pump or something that would just suck all the liquid up. Don't get me wrong, I tried to use the sponge bed, but no, that only worked with water. I ended up taking up so much oil that it started creating these cool like fire pit holes, but that's about it. After spending 5 whole days of just transferring oil, I filled up 3 whole oil drums. That means I've put over 1,000 buckets, if not more, of oil into these drums. I'm not very smart, am I? But I did take about good 20 layers of oil. I mean, is there an achievement for that? And I decided for the final 5 days, I needed to have a cool and epic entrance that I was sort of proud of. I started building up these towers to show a more menacing and intimidating look. I also brought out 2 mini towers that give the castle more of a castle look. And yeah, I also wanted a better way to merge the outside to the inside tunnel. So I made this cool black triangle thing that kind of merges them together. I also wanted to broaden the hallway a lot because I wanted to be reach any part of the base from here. And what do you mean by that, Socks for One? Well, the reason why I wanted everything to be digged out around is because I wanted to have every mod to have its own giant room. And this hallway will be the giant connection between all of them. I had to make a lot more lava blocks, but honestly, it was pretty satisfying to make when I have this crafting station. I created these open areas. That way I could have more hallways connecting into other rooms or other areas of the base. I ended up doubling the size of the hallway and it already looks better. I ended up doing the garage door for the main door because when it's really big, it looks good. And just look how it opens. That's pretty funky. All it needed was a surrounding trim and voila, we actually have some sort of presentable entrance. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this 100 days. 700 days will be out very, very soon. This is because I already recorded 1/3 of it. If you have any ideas on how to improve this base or you just have a cool idea, please let me know in the comments section. I'll be sure to add it. Anyway, until next time.